So let's understand the first mistake that people make: not understanding the commercial purpose of the transaction. So what do you do when you get a contract? The first thing you will do is you will read it end to end, right? Now, if it is a 100-page contract, by the time you finish reading it end to end, 3-4 hours will pass. Mostly your brain's attention will go away. Correct? This happened with me in third year interning at AZB. I'm trying to read various syndicate finance loan agreements. Syndicate finance is basically foreign and Indian banks or multiple banks lending to a borrower, hundreds of crores. Okay, because the amount of money borrowed is huge. There are multiple lenders lending. There are other documents also along with the loan agreement that go with it. And what I am doing basically is trying to read it end to end, tearing my hair apart and not understanding everything. I understand one clause and then I lose the whole picture. Same thing happens with investment agreements. There are so many jargon related clauses, okay, in investment agreements that this happens. Now, jargon is a part of every kind of commercial deal. You must understand that no matter which sector, and jargon is specific to a particular sector. For example, a FIDIC or a construction contract, okay? A construction contract will have its own jargon. A power purchase agreement will have its own jargon. So there will be some generic clauses. There will be a lot of specific clauses common to only power purchase agreements. A franchisee agreement will have its own specific clauses. A shareholder share purchase share subscription agreement will have its own specific clauses. A loan agreement will have its own specific clauses. Not understanding that is going to be a problem. If you look at a lot of the books that are there, you will see that they are explaining various terms in a contract, taking it all together, like 50 terms of the contract. Let's understand these clauses. But where a lot of this falls short is in explaining the sector specific jargon and the commercials. For example, what is an anti-dilution clause in a shareholders agreement? Okay, that is how does it protect an investor's rights? That is very important. Good Anubhav, escrow agreements have their own uh, requirement. Software escrows are different from regular escrows. Okay, an escrow such as what an Upwork would keep. Upwork, what it does is that if you are getting a freelance assignment, sometimes they allow a escrow feature where the money is kept with them. Okay, or you would have escrow agents in the banking finance industry or various industries. So escrow agent is a middleman and they will basically ensure that neither one party, like where a transaction has to be performed by both parties simultaneously, the risk is that if I perform my deal, you may back out later and I can't hold you to it. So the escrow agent ensures that both sides perform the deal simultaneously. Yeah, yeah, Vaibhav. Paytm also keeps payments on hold until the other side does its job. So not understanding the, now what did I mean here? So when you've not understood the sector specific jargon and you don't understand the commercial purpose of the transaction, then what will happen is that your drafting and review exercises will be incomplete. Okay. And by the way, when you work on a real contract, there is a lot of sector specific, there is a lot of contract business specific information that goes in. And it's not like this that when you get a civil suit or you get an arbitration matter, the client will give you certain facts, right? And you will say, okay, I want more facts. What happened now? What happened next? What happened next? And based on that, you will think and identify a strategy and a document to draft. Contract drafting work doesn't work like this. Client will say, this is the deal I'm thinking of. And then you will have to take 2 steps ahead and help the client figure out scenarios, figure out things. Okay, if you are basically the client's lawyer at the pre-contract stage, if they're going to give you work, that's what you have to do. Okay, if you're reviewing contracts as an intern also at a law firm, for example, then at that time you have to understand the commercial purpose to be able to do your proofreading tasks properly. When I was doing an internship at like I was doing this at AZB in third year, fourth year. At that time, what I realized was that when I couldn't understand the whole purpose of the transaction, my proofreading job wasn't happening properly. So I realized that I have to first understand the purpose. What do I mean by the purpose? Okay, purpose is not a one-liner. Like if I say, what is the purpose of an investment agreement, okay, or a shareholders agreement, share subscription agreement? It allows an investor to invest into the company, but it protects certain rights of the founder. It protects certain interests of the founders. It protects certain interests of the investors. Which interests of the investors does it protect? And what are the clauses that do that? You should be able to understand literally on your fingertips. Okay, same for founders. What would a founder want when they negotiate with investors? What would a borrower want when it is negotiating with a bank? What would the bank want? What will be okay with one side? What will not be okay with it? Okay, so understanding this commercial purpose is very important. Under which circumstances can the bank say that you can't draw the money anymore? I've approved the loan, but now this happened and you are ineligible from drawing, or drawing meaning borrowing the loan. Giving you example, okay? So commercials is very important. Basically, who gets what. So one party will earn and one party will pay for certain thing that is done or not done. Whether product, service, anything can be there. Okay. So commercials is very important. Subject matter. Okay. What is the actual service? What is the property being transferred? Is there real estate, immovable property? Is there a trademark license? Here, a lot of statutory aspects also come in case of subject matter. Okay. So that gets triggered. Parties, people don't have a clue about. Big contracts have too many parties, so you can't figure out, are who's doing what, becomes very unclear. Right now it's very easy, na? In a rent agreement or in an NDA you will have two parties most of the times. But when you have a shareholders agreement, you have a loan agreement, you will go mad. There's like this party security trustee, this one company, this one promoter, you will not be able to track only. So literally, if you need to take a pen and paper, draw a diagram to understand, or draw, if you're good with PPT, draw, but make a structure. Like, you can, I'm showing you on a page like this, you can draw squares, you can draw a diagram, and so that you have one photographic representation of the structure of the transaction. Draw a photographic representation with pen and paper. Best thing. Why I discourage using only soft copies is because you will get damn confused. Okay, because like, it's first thing you have to do is focus on how to draw in a PPT, versus on your pen and paper you will just draw and then you'll tear it away if the drawing is wrong, and then again you will draw. So that will be very easy, and if a senior sees you work like that, they are going to be really impressed with your with the way you think and with the way you keep things clear. Who gains and how. So commercials and who gains and how is very, both are interrelated. Commercials may be purely this, that I get so much work money for so much of the service that is provided, but I may have more details to it, like, my service should meet this quality, I must provide it at this level. Okay, so there may be more details to the commercials which I must keep in mind. Like, for example, if an investor invests in the company $10 million, the company gets $10 million. What is investor getting? Okay, some equity in the company or some stake in the company, but how will they stand to gain more money in the future? Okay, how will they ensure that their risk is going to be minimized? So a little more details are important to understand. Okay, one very important thing I must tell you is that working from a suboptimal mental state. People don't talk of this as a drafting issue, but thinking of the right mental state, being in the right mental state is very important to be able to think of drafting. Okay, anxiety is always there when you see a big contract. There's anxiety of deadline, anxiety of not knowing the subject matter, anxiety of impressing your senior. All of that is there. Overwhelm is there is too much to look at, too much information to sift. So one classic reason you face overwhelm is because there is too much to do, and you don't have, every information is new. So if you are more trained, you know more, you learn better, you're more prepared, then the amount of new information that you will have when you're doing work will be less, so you can process it faster. Okay, so overwhelm is not from a state of, Array, don't be overwhelmed, there's, you'll figure it out. I'm not saying from that perspective. I'm just saying from this, that you have too many new things when you get your first assignment, versus having 20% new things when you get your first assignment and having a head start. Okay, how will the two influence you? If you have everything is new, you're going to be overwhelmed because you will not know what to do. You will be confused and clueless. If you know a few things, then what happens is that you get a jump start, and you will feel, your brain will say, oh, very good, I know a few things. And the few things that you don't know, you will be wanting to solve that.